Yo! Boy, I got about 15 or so minutes. It's your favorite time of the week. Questions with the coach. If you have a question, go ahead and ask it. Why? Because I'll answer it. That's what I do. Hence the name, Questions with the Coach. It'd be weird if it was just questions and no answers, I mean, it's supposed to be a question and answer period. You bring the questions, I give you the answers, you go about your day, and then we don't have to talk anymore. But up until then, it's just going to be me just yammering. I'm just literally verbal diarrhea, man, until I get something from somebody to ask me something. So here we are on a Friday. We always do questions with the coach on a Friday, so that's nothing new. But what are you guys doing? What are you excited about? You got Netflix? Is that it? I started watching Hollywood, another series on Netflix. I'm 3 episodes in. Totally on the fence. Don't know if I like it yet. So I like that time period. I like kind of the idea of like someone trying to make it in Hollywood and writing a show about it, but it's getting I don't know how to describe it. And it's a little strange. Dante Culbrett's in the house. What's happening, man? Go Wolverines. Dante, you been watching the Bulls documentary? I hope so, man. It's been awesome. I don't know. Hey, did you hear about Landon Cox? I don't know if you knew him very well, but very sad that he had passed away. A very famous basketball coach from King in Chicago recently passed away, so it's kind of a sad story. Don Stanwyck, all the way from Dave and Buster's. I doubt you're still with Dave and Buster's, but if you are, God bless you, man. These are tough times for restaurants these days, and we are all going to have to pull together. I'm starting to feel like I should have cleaned up or something before this all started, man. Yeah, no, I've been watching that Bulls documentary. It's awesome, man. I literally am like, we're about the same age. I've been reliving the 90s. I forgot that Scottie Pippen had held out, and I completely forgot that they lost those first 2 games against the Knicks, too. So, like, to watch that stuff, it's just like, yeah, they did win 6 out of 8 years, but nothing was handed to them. I mean, it was an uphill battle each series, outside of the first couple. They usually blew through those. But every single time they got to the finals, everyone seems to forget that if John Paxson misses that shot in Phoenix, that their 3rd championship is going back to Chicago for a Game 7. And I think the same thing happened with Steve Kerr. If he misses that shot against the Jazz, it goes to a Game 7. And it was like, yeah, we never went to a Game 7. Yeah, but you were like 1 shot away. I mean, I realize hindsight's 2020, and obviously they're the team with destiny and all that type of stuff. But it's cool to watch these documentaries, at least this whole Last Dance documentary, because I'm kind of a documentary snob, and I can say far and away it has the makings of being potentially one of the greatest sports documentary series ever. They say the OJ Made in America series is like one of the best documentary series ever made, but I think this whole Bulls is either going to rival it or top it. So I'm looking forward to episodes 7 and 8 this weekend. Can't wait to check it out. So should be a doozy. I'm here to answer fitness questions. That's why I wear this Perform Better Summit sweatshirt I got when I went to the Perform Better Summit in 2013 at McCormick Place. If you've ever been to any of those Perform Better Summits or any fitness expos, it's literally like 10 people scratching each other's backs, giving seminars about stuff that anybody with half a brain could probably do. It's mostly for like new people, but you got to go to them for these continuing ed credits. But to their credit, what they'll do is when you sign up for this stuff, they just give you the continuing ed credits when you first sign up the certificate, and then you can kind of choose whether or not you want to go to the actual seminar. And that might have changed, but it's how it was in 2013, which I thought was kind of nice too, because it's like, hey man, let's be honest. Whenever it's new stuff I'm going to learn, it is nice to hear people talk about fitness stuff, but I think at the end of the day, as long as I give you my money, I should get my certificate for credits, continuing education. Is that what we're talking about? I feel like there's more. What is today's topic? Well, I said that I would talk about different muscle groups. The reason I said that was it actually came up earlier this week. One of my clients who loves to golf was asking me, should he be focusing on the little muscles during his exercise routine? He typically trains with me Tuesday through Friday. We do the 6:30 a.m. session, which is free and welcome to everybody. Link is at coachpotts.com. I'd love to have you. But the question he was asking, like, hey, we do these workouts, they're about 25 minutes each. Should I be doing something else on top of that? Should I be focusing on little muscles? Just like almost every answer to any question that's fitness related, it really depends on what your goals are. But for him in particular, if we're talking about sports specific goals, you typically want to focus on what we call the prime movers first. Those are the major muscle groups. But not only that, you typically want to focus on exercises that encompass the entire body. And the two best for developing explosive power, which translate best to sport, are the power clean and the snatch, which are the two Olympic movements. Clean and jerk. I mean, you could argue that the jerk, which is below the chin to above the head, is equally as important. But regardless, if you're doing a jerk, a clean, or a snatch, you're going to use the whole body because you have to generate power with your feet from the floor. So that's what typically translates to anything, whether it be swinging a golf club, dunking a basketball, call back to the Chicago Bulls, and, swinging a tennis racket, any type of stuff like that. I mean, even like sprinting, right? Like we're talking about generating power from the floor. So you want to start with those exercises first. Why? Because you're least tired then. You can give them the most amount of attention. You can use your body most efficiently. If you're tired or, that you're doing at the end of the workout, chances are your form's going to slip. They obviously have the greatest degree of difficulty, which almost also opens the door for the greatest potential for disaster or injury in such case. So if you are going to do those exercises, you want to do them at the beginning. And if you're trying to train sport, you should be using those exercises, the clean, the snatch, and the jerk as well. You can do a clean and jerk, whatever. Second to that, I think, are your power lifts, which are a little bit slower, but use the major muscle groups the most, which are the back squat or front squat, either or. But usually back squat, you can lift more weight, so you're definitely developing some more brute strength. The bench press, and finally the deadlift. So you use the most amount of muscles for those exercises. So if we're not too worried about, let's say, sport specific exercises, but rather you're trying to develop strength, those are the best ones. You're going to get the strongest doing those. Keep your reps low, keep your intensity high, meaning little rest in between, but you want to rest efficiently, but you still want to be able to do those exercises. Get a little bit of tongue-tied here. But those will develop the most amount of strength, which also translates to, I don't know, if you have a job where you're doing manual labor, or perhaps, your sport is wrestling or any of that type of stuff. If you're going to develop strength, you're going to have to do bench press, back squat, and deadlift for sure. And then finally, if we're talking about sculpting and toning, that's when we start to get to some of those secondary muscles. And when I say secondary, they're important, but do you need to be able to do a bicep curl in order to function properly? Like, how much bicep are you really using if you're lifting something from the ground and putting it on a shelf above your head? Is it cool to have sexy biceps? Yeah, if you want big cannons and you want to attract the chicks, or, if we're talking about having sculpted and toned arms, ladies, and we want some nice definition in those triceps, yeah, it's important to do those exercises as well. But those exercises aren't as functional. And to me, the word functional literally means that you use your entire body to do the exercise. So if I told you to lift something from the floor, you're going to use your glutes and you're going to use your quadriceps and stuff, but you're going to use them all in unison. So it's a functional exercise, and it translates to the outside world. A tricep extension is not functional because you're not using your whole body. And how often do you sit there and try to push something by just extending your elbow? You won't. You'll use your whole body to push something. So, but if you want to sculpt and tone, then focusing on those secondary muscles is the way to go as well. So bodybuilding is literally the sport of focusing entirely on secondary muscles, trying to get them big, trying to decrease your fat, trying to make everything sleek and sexy, because all they're training for is aesthetics. And when I say bodybuilding, everyone thinks like muscle head with, no neck and a lot of steroids and stuff. But there's also like fitness pageants and physique, and there's even it might be physique. It's one of the categories where the gentlemen are wearing board shorts because they're too embarrassed to show off their chicken legs, because all they do is do bench press and pull-ups. That's fine. And that's what most people want anyway, is a six-pack abs and, sexy arms, and they could care less how much they bench press. So it all reverts back to what I had said initially, which is it really depends on what your goals are. If you're training for sport, you should be doing power cleans and snatches. And you should probably get a coach for that, because they're pretty complicated exercises, or you could talk to me. If you're trying to get strong, you're definitely going to stick with the bench press, the back squat or front squat, and the deadlift. Again, get a coach. Those back squat and deadlift in particular are great ways to injure yourself if you don't know what you're doing. And if we're talking about getting sexy and toned, and we're not too worried about increasing strength as much, You'll increase it a little bit, but not as efficiently as doing those other exercises. Then we're talking about training the secondary muscles, the biceps, the triceps, you know, the obliques, you know, if you want that nice little chiseled, you know, that you want to shape out that midsection of yours so everyone looks at you and go, oh my God, you know, he's so good looking. We want the teardrop in the quad, right, man? Look at those calves. Like, those are all secondary muscles, and that tends to lend itself to more body part split type routines, hence the sport of bodybuilding, physique, you know, fitness, whatever it is. So that's my answer for that. But specifically, there's primary, secondary, stabilizers, and, you know, we call them antagonists, which is the opposite muscle groups, but I don't get too complicated. Second to that, what's the importance of hydration? Great question. I'm glad nobody asked it. Nobody has asked any questions so far. I'm just yammering on and on. Questions with the coach. There's more of a monologue. I got like 5 minutes. Maddie, are you still in Scotland or Ireland or wherever you were? Dave, you miss Crunch, I know you do. James Vandersloot, you still crack me up. Keep it up, Jimmy. Has anybody got any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to talk about water. I don't see anything. So, the importance of hydration. What is the rule of thumb when it comes to water? Here's my rule of thumb. Write it down if you think you want to know more about hydration, or you're really bored, or you have a really bad memory, because it's a pretty easy one to remember. Here's how I feel about hydration. You should drink water, not tea, not coffee. None of that stuff counts. And you should aim to drink half your body weight in ounces. I weigh 200 pounds-ish, and I should be drinking approximately 100 ounces of water on the days that I work out. So if I'm doing any excess sweating, or if it's super humid, or I just feel thirsty, I should be drinking about half my body weight in ounces. On the days I don't work out, I should be drinking a little less. I should start my day out. This is about a 16-ounce mug. I had a 32-ouncer. I would try to... Those smart bottles were actually 33 ounces, the smart water bottles, and I would try to drink 3 of those a day. Did I always get there? Is that what you should be doing? Are you going to over drink water? Yeah, you can. You could definitely kill yourself by drinking too much water. Every now and again, you'll hear about some Army recruit who was force hydrated, and then he didn't, you know, make it because, you know, he was flooded his system and no more electrolytes, and, you know, he died, and everyone's like, hey, you can drink too much water. Yes, those do happen, and it is very rare. But, Maddie, we do have a question. Let me just wrap this up, and I'm going to answer it very well. But the thing is, half your body weight in ounces on the days you work out, maybe a little bit less, of just water. Why? It promotes cellular function. Promoting cellular function is a term that fitness geeks like myself use when they don't have a good answer. So breathing oxygen, eating food, sleeping at night, they all promote cellular function. So does drinking water. It's necessary to live. That's why you should focus on at least shooting for half your body weight in ounces. If you only get half of that, try and get a little bit more. If you're getting 3/4 of that, you're doing pretty good. And if you want to drink something else on top of that, have that later. I do recommend, though, kind of cutting down, or at least stopping to drink water about an hour or 2 or 3 before you go to sleep. Otherwise, you will be getting up in the middle of the night and emptying that bladder, and that could disrupt your sleep cycles, and it's just kind of annoying. So, you know, I typically, during the week, I go to bed around 9 or 10. I try to not drink excessively after 7 o'clock. Weekend's a little bit different. I'm going to bed around 11 or 12. But again, I'm not, you know, sitting there slamming, you know, coffee, and I'm certainly not down as much water as I possibly can right before I go to sleep, because I don't want to get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom. Finally, I got enough time for one more question, and it comes from Maddie. Good to see you. Good to see you too, Barb. What kind of a workout should you do if you don't have any equipment? Glad you asked. First and foremost, you need to sign on to CoachPotts.com. Click on past workouts. Almost all of them are without dumbbells. They have zero equipment. What workouts are best? Depends on your fitness goals. But since you have limited equipment, some sort of cardio-based strength training is ideal. It will help you possibly build some muscle, definitely help you burn some fat, keep your heart in shape, and will keep you going up until when the gyms reopen. So, you know, any kind of body weight exercises, body weight squats, lunges, step-ups if you have a chair. If you have a chair, you can do tricep dips. You can do push-ups against the chair. I mean, honestly, you know, you could do walkouts, which is a nice core exercise. You could do Pilates, which is almost zero equipment, and it's a great core. It actually hits a lot of those secondary muscles that we were talking about earlier. So workouts, any kind of workout that's going to elevate your heart rate and ideally incorporate at least some sort of strength training is ideal. You don't need equipment to do it. I have over 30 workouts available on my website for free. Click on CoachPods.com, click on past workouts. You can do any one of those that are available on YouTube, or you can join us live. The nice thing about the live thing is I can actually talk to you like I'm talking to you right now. And the idea is to be doing something almost every day, at least 4 out of the 7 days, ideally at least 4, 3, now we're getting to like 2 or 3 is like, but it doesn't have to be an hour every time. You can get 25, 30-minute workout. Should be part of your day. But the answer is something is always better than nothing. So if you don't have any dumbbells, that means you can't work out. That means that you need to find a way to work out. You need to be consistent about it. And just do the best that you can until the gyms reopen. The gyms are a wonderland of equipment where we have infinite opportunity to do a bazillion different exercises. And since we're all kind of quarantined and trapped at home, we're limited in terms of equipment. We're limited in terms of the exercises we can do. But that doesn't mean you can't get a phenomenal workout in. So if you have anything specific, do ask me. I will answer it. Josh Payne is in the house. You miss running up and down the stairs with the chains. I know. You can substitute the chains for something. You can put a heavy backpack on. You can find a small animal, Perhaps you could pick up someone else's child and then just run up and down stairs. It's good for you. Get the heart rate going. But, folks, that's been another Questions with the Coach episode. I'm glad you tuned in, especially you, Josh Payne. I see you all the time, man. I hope you're doing some of these workouts. Don't just be creeping, man. Get off your chair, do the workouts with me, ask me some questions. That's why I'm here for you guys. This will be available, obviously, on Facebook, but also on YouTube as well under the live streams playlist. I will continue to pump out as much information as I can to you folks because I love you and I want to see you doing well. My newsletter, which is free, is available. If you haven't signed up yet, go to my website, give me your email address. I give out nutrition tips, workout tips, a little bit of motivation, the cool, sexy infographics. I know people like those. I know I like them. And that's all I got for you today. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Yeah, buddy.